All right, let's talk about Cuties. All right, let me give you an update on what this is. Netflix comes out with this movie. It is a fictional movie. It's not a documentary. It is about an 11-year-old girl played by a 14-year-old actress, but she's still a kid, who is a Muslim girl in, I think it's set in France, but she's part of this community that's come over to France, clearly from like an African country. It's very old school, the way she's being raised, and a lot of tradition, and the old grandmother and the aunt is there. And it's about her experience trying to navigate that world, and the fact that she's growing up in modern Western culture of France with social media, with movies, with television. They reference the Kardashians. I saw it last night. It is a wonderful movie. It is an important movie. It is an emotional movie. It is incredibly poignant. I'm a dad. I have a daughter. She's 17 now, but I've watched her kind of go through this weird rite of passage. She still has some residue from it, dealing with what social media tells her she should be and her friends should be. This is an important movie. Netflix fucked up badly. This is how the movie was marketed in France, okay? It's like, okay, it's just some kids shopping. Oh, they're wearing bras. They're tween girls. Oh, look, we're being silly. Whatever. It's no problem. They call themselves the Cuties as their dance troupe name, and they basically do these dances at the end of the movie, and they don't know what they're doing. This is the key thing, right? These are girls who are 11, 12, 13 years old, and they are on that cusp. They're still kids, but they're growing into adults, and so they're aware of guys and sexuality and all that, and they're still little kids. They're tweens. That's what they do. They grow up, okay? And this is that weird little time, that weird little window where, like Britney Spears says, not a girl, not yet a woman, right? This is what that's about. And they do these dances at the end of the movie for the competition, and they are intentionally sexualized. Not because the movie is a porno movie, but because the movie is about this kid who her dad is absent, her mother is struggling to get through the day. No one is there for this kid. She's raising her fucking brother by herself. She has no guidance. So she's been left to social media to parent herself, okay? And in that, she's watching the Kardashians. She wants to fit in with these girls, so she starts watching dance videos on YouTube. And lo and behold, she starts discovering all this really super hypersexualized dancing and videos and all that. And so she, in order to fit in, starts teaching the kids new dance moves. They don't know any better. They're not sitting around going, we're trying to fuck anybody. They're basically going, oh, these are the moves that people on the YouTube do. Cool. And ultimately, it becomes a hypersexualized dance group at the end. And thank God, I'll tell you how it ends in a minute. I'm going to spoil it for you. But Netflix, for some god-awful dumb reason, chose when they were marketing the movie at first to use this as their poster. This is basically the problem in the fiction of the movie. This is ultimately what the movie's about. It's a parable. It's a cautionary tale of, look, parents, raise your kids. Social media left unchecked will fuck kids up. Parents not being around will fuck kids up. Super hyper tradition of the old ways will fuck kids up as much as trying to be modern will fuck kids up. It is about parenting. It is an important movie. But for some reason, Netflix says we're going to promote it this way. The problem here is the guys who do marketing at Netflix, probably if not fired, they should be sat down and gone like, y'all need to take a leave of absence because y'all out of your goddamn minds. Because this is not the way to market that movie. It's impossible to watch this movie. It's impossible to then hear from the director and go, yeah, this movie, this is horrible, this is awful, this is pedo shit. No, it's not. The only way this is pedophilia to you is if you're attracted to this, okay? If you're into this, sure, it's pedophilia. But if you're into this, the Disney Channel's pedophilia, right? That's what you're into, tragically. The one complaint people have about this motion picture is they say, the message is important, Jaffe. It is. What they're saying about kids being hypersexualized is important because it's happening in this country. It's happening all over the world. And it's a problem. But why did they have to film that with the kids? That is the only pot they have to piss in. And they're not wrong in terms of that argument, which is you can make the point of Cuties without actually having to have filmed these girls doing this. That becomes debatable, though. That becomes, you know what, if you have that position, I respect that. I don't know if I agree. I think there's value in the movie. especially when you see this director. These kids were not, there's no stories that these kids were harmed. A lot of times she says we made up little games of them pretending they were animals. A lot of times in movies like this, they will have kids do things. The kids aren't aware of the context, right? These kids, from what I understand, were not harmed. It was a loving set. It was a nurturing set. It was done respectfully. It was done with the parents' permission. But yes, you could argue the very nature of filming kids doing this, even if the kids weren't knowing what they were doing, is inherently problematic. I would say I respect that argument. I don't agree with that argument. The film becomes more powerful because it is so shocking. You can't watch this movie and not be disturbed. It is disturbing. And in it being disturbing, I think it has its power. It's disturbing in the same way that this is disturbing. Toddlers in tiaras is disturbing. Or the Bratz dolls that are little kids that are sexualized. This is what's happening. You know what the number 1 or number 2, depending on the chart you look at, song in America is right now? Is WAP, which I had to have the chat point out to me. WAP stands for wet ass pussy. My kids were singing it in the car the other day. This is not, my kids are 17 and 15, okay? You think what? The internet knows not to serve this up? This is the number 1, number 2 song in America. It's a good song. It's horrifically vulgar. Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy, bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass pussy. Give me everything you got for this wet ass pussy. It goes on and on and on and on. It's super vulgar. Here's the video for it. I'll just show you a little frame of it. There you go. There you go. This is the culture in which we're raising kids in. There was a study up here, a media sexual study. They basically looked at a bunch of kid shows. This is not like tiaras and toddlers and tiaras. This is like Disney shit, Netflix shit, Hulu shit. They said female characters were more likely to be sexualized than male, an average of 24 instances of sexualization per episode. This is pervasive. So this lady says, I'm going to make a fucking movie about it. It's important. She says, I saw these girls doing this dance scene in Paris, and that's what inspired me because it was crazy that they were doing this overtly sexual stuff. So let me show you the end of this movie. I'm just going to show you frames so I don't get any copyright stuff. This is why this movie is beautiful and why it is important and why it is tragic that people are just, I had a guy I respect, a guy I like a lot who follows us on the stream and on Twitter last night who's like, he wouldn't even hear of it. He won't watch it. He won't look at it. It's like, I get it, buddy. You're not a pedophile. I'm not a pedophile either. Sometimes it seems like some people, not this guy, but some people protest so much that it's like, dude, what? Yes, no one, unless you're fucked up in the head, supports exploitation of kids, let alone fucking kids. You don't have to shout from the mountaintops. We get it. You're not a creep. But look, this movie has important things to say. At the end of the movie, and I'm going to spoil it. It's not like it's fucking Marvel or anything. This is her dance outfit that's hypersexualized. This is the outfit she has from at the beginning for her dad's wedding. Her dad is absent, marrying another woman. The mom is beside herself, but she's trying to fake it, and the daughter knows it. So she's not getting properly raised at the moment. And they buy her this sort of very traditional Muslim dress for the wedding. And at the end, she's like, you know what? I'm rejecting that. I don't want that. And she's rejecting that. At the end of the movie, she's in tears over this. She's on stage and she realizes for the first time, holy shit, what the fuck am I doing? And she runs off stage and she goes home and embraces her mom. And her mom finally is there for her. And she says, fuck this shit and fuck this shit. And at the end of the movie, this is what she's wearing. And the end of the movie is absolutely beautifully heartbreaking. At the end of the film, she says, I'm going to basically be a tween again. She's dressing in a way that is not overtly sexual, but it's not overtly traditional to some old way of thinking. She's jumping rope, but she's still clearly a girl who's becoming a woman. And at the end of the movie, it's this beautiful shot where she's jumping rope. I don't know how they did this shot because this wasn't a big budget film. And the camera pushes in on her, and every time she's jumping rope, she gets higher and higher, and the camera keeps going up with her. So it's almost like they slid a trampoline under her off the camera, and she just keeps rising into the sky, almost as if her spirit is being lifted. It is absolutely beautiful, and you get this great shot of her radiant face at the very end. It's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. Oh, Cuties is terrible. Can't watch that. How dare you talk about Cuties? You're a pedophile. No, I'm just not willing to make up my mind because somebody goes on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC and tells me what I should think. I'm willing to basically keep an open fucking mind. I lean towards a shocking documentary being a better choice. Trey, you could be right, but I mean, look, let's be clear. You have that. There's your shocking documentary. It hasn't worked. Your shocking documentary is the fact that Cardi B has the #1 song in America with a song called Wet Ass Pussy, which I guarantee you 13, 14, 12-year-old kids are singing. Maybe that isn't the best tact. And I want to show you this woman who is the director of the motion picture. If you hear this and you still have a problem, then I respect that. But, I mean, this is not some creepy pedophile lady who wants to exploit children. This is someone who clearly has her heart in the right place. And is like, look, this is an important message. This is a feminist film. It is an empowering film. Metallic says, the fact is they subjected minors to this to make it, which is wrong. I don't know if you're right about that. Here's what I would say you're right, Metallic. I would say you're 100% right on that. If what you're saying is those kids on that set were treated poorly, they were scarred, they were damaged, they were treated in such a way that they might as well have been in a fucking pedo porn. I would agree with you 100%. But that's not, when you look at this, that's not what this set looked like. Their parents were there. It was a nurturing set. I understand they're unable to consent, but you're basically saying, Chris says they're minors, they're unable to consent even legally. I understand that. That's what their parents and guardians are for. Kids are in movies and TV all the time. So there's a scene in the movie where, I mean, this girl is fucked up. She's fucked up for a while in this movie. She finds a cell phone because in her tradition, they don't give her a cell phone. And it opens up the world to her in all kinds of good and horrible ways. At one point, she is so determined to break out of her Muslim tradition family, and she wants this dance group to do well. She's going to lose her cell phone. So in an act of desperation, the last thing she can do is she goes into a bathroom, she locks the door, she pulls her pants down, she takes a picture of her vagina, and she uploads it to Instagram, and then she gives the phone back to the person she stole it from. Now, obviously, we don't see this. It all happens off camera, okay? Well, people are losing their shit over it, and it's like, Jesus Christ, that is important. Do you know how many fucking kids are sexting? Kids do this shit. Teenagers do this shit. And God forbid, horribly, tweens do this shit. The woman is making a movie and saying, look, America, look, parents, look, adults. This is what's happening out there. You can turn a blind eye to it and pretend, hubbub, hubbub. Or you can say, shit, this is pretty horrible. This is pretty fucking horrible. We need to step in and raise our kids better. It's literally become... It's a porno. It's pedophile. We need to cancel Netflix. We need to have the law step in. And when I talk to people, I'm not going to watch that. I'm like, well, have you watched it? I'm not going to, no. I'm not going to watch that. It's like, really? You're not going to watch that? You're going to complain about it? You're going to say the law needs to step in? You're going to have no problem shouting your opinion from the rooftops, but you're not going to watch that? Huh. That says more about you. That says more about the level of shit discourse we have in this country, that we can't even look at a film that is important, that is well made, that is in many ways very heartfelt. I loved this movie. I thought it was really good. I agree. Wrath says right-wing Twitter had a field day. And again, they have a right to have a field day, but for the love of God, get educated. Watch the fucking movie. And then let's hear it. Yeah, if you're a pedophile, that's a problem. But this isn't about pedophiles. There's one guy in the movie that clearly has a little bit of like, hey, I like what I'm seeing. And the kids are like, what the fuck's wrong with you, you fucking weirdo? And they call him a pedophile. It's not about a movie about pedophiles at all. Sweetness says, well, aren't you going to talk about the scene where the girl, this Amy girl, tries to have sex with someone to keep her phone? She doesn't. Yeah, but I'll talk about it. There's a scene where the guy comes back to take his phone back that she stole it from. And she's so desperate to hold on to her social media, which has given her life meaning and given her a sense of power, that she slowly starts to take off her jacket and sort of be seductive with him. Like, hey, I'll basically have sex with you. She doesn't know what she's doing. And the guy immediately is like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? She's not being sexy because she literally wants to have sex at all, let alone with the grown-up. She's being sexy or trying to show off her sexuality because she's watching videos like this, and she's like, oh, I guess this is where female power comes from because that's what social media is telling me. But people just, I don't know. I mean, I do know. People want money. We live in a capitalist society. It's unregulated. People are scared. People say, I can get clicks if I do this. I'm Tucker Carlson. I'm Ben Shapiro. I'm Rachel Maddow. Whatever. I can get clicks if I keep people angry and divided. Let me show you this fucking thing. This is a video right now on YouTube. Cuties defenders, of which I am. This guy says, I am disgusting filth. Me. I am disgusting filth because I'm sitting here telling you this is a really good movie. It's sitting at an 89-90 Rotten Tomatoes. Most people who see the film actually say this is a great movie, but apparently I'm disgusting filth. Of course it's clickbait. Of course it's clickbait, Eternal, because the guy doesn't really care. Tucker Carlson doesn't really care. No one wants discourse. No one wants discussion. Okay, well, Music is Passion says, sorry, Jaffe, the message is right, the production is wrong. I respect that. I don't agree with you, but I respect that. And we can have a discussion, and we can have a debate, and we can have a conversation about it, and maybe you'll convince me, maybe I'll convince you, but at the end of the day, we both agree at least, hey, you know what? It's an important message. Wrath says, Jaffe, do you think the guy on YouTube who said it turned him on? Okay, so the guy on YouTube, this was interesting. Okay, so the guy that we're talking about on YouTube, he says, look, these girls who are 14, I think his experiment was if you sat in a chair and one of these girls gave you a lap dance, and if you got a boner, you would get shot in the head and die. It was a very strange scenario. I was like, wow, that's detailed, sir. If you got a boner, you'd get shot in the head and die. But if you didn't get a boner, which would prove that you're not a pedophile, you'd get $1 million. And he asked the guy, he says, would you take that bet? And the guy just kind of poo-pooed him off. The point, though, and it is important, and it is a very uncomfortable movie to watch. And it's a very uncomfortable movie to talk about because we rightly so put pedophiles almost at the top, if not the top, of the worst boogeymen that our society and our species have to offer. But it's not wrong to say when you have the way the movie presents these girls, and maybe that's why people are so upset, because they can't settle in with the fact that it's uncomfortable. It is supposed to be uncomfortable. It's not like, look, it's very different when you look at this. When you look at, this isn't uncomfortable. This is just wrong. This is just gross and weird and strange, right? What the guy was saying is when you have a girl, these girls are developed. They look like young women. They don't look like they're 25, but they don't look like they're 8. They're developed. They have boobs. They have butts, right? And what he was basically saying badly is that to watch that is very uncomfortable. It's very disturbing. And I think my point is it's supposed to be disturbing. If you make it palpable, if you make it something that doesn't push your buttons and make you go, I don't like seeing this. There were times watching the movie I had to look away. It was very... It's like, I don't want to see that. That's why when people say, oh, they shouldn't have filmed this with real kids, what I'm suggesting is the power of the film, because it's disturbing, because it's wrong, because it's gross, because it's uncomfortable, perhaps allows the film to communicate the message better. Cyclown says, I can definitely tell you people can't handle being uncomfortable. No, they can't. That's the problem. I get you. Some people are upset who haven't watched it. This is a very powerful, important film about femininity, feminism, women taking their power back, women rejecting social media, women also rejecting tradition that doesn't work for them. It's a powerful film about growing up. I understand Metallic. It's not the point. Again, I'm not going to shit on you for that view. Your view is it doesn't matter. They were minors. Anytime you put a minor in a situation that has any hint of sexuality, it's bad. And my answer to you is that I think it depends. Here's a movie that's intended to show how horrible this is. You think that's bad. I think it could be bad. I'm open-minded to your point of view, but it could also be important. Metallic says, I still need to address the camera angles on the dance scenes. What am I addressing? It was shot to be evocative. It was shot to be disturbing. I don't know what you want me to say. It was meant to make you uncomfortable, and it did. Mission accomplished.